Welcome to Codex History of Video Games. I'm Mike Coletta.
And I'm Tyler Osby.
And today we got ourselves a little mailbag episode.
That's right. We've got some travel coming up for the both of us. We might not be able to sync up our times as we on the weekends here as we travel around. So we're doing a mailbag episode. I think we're doing a remastered one next week. And then the week after that, who knows? We'll see, because I will be just getting back from a very long plane flight. And maybe I'll be feeling great, but maybe I won't.
Tyler is going straight up international, like his hero, James Bond.
That's right. My hero, James Bond. John Glames.
Wait,
goes international.
Do you want to talk to them about how you've watched all the movies now? You finished all the James Bond movies, right?
That's right. Yeah. As of 2 nights ago, I finished watching every single James Bond movie. And so now we're just going to talk about James Bond on this podcast. It's now a Bond podcast. There's no video games ever again.
Welcome to Bondex, a history of James Bond. I'm John Glames. That's not going to work.
And I am Bond, James Bond.
We're just drinking martinis. It'll be fun. Okay. Yeah. So before we go into the emails, though, do you have a favorite after watching all those? Because that's what I'm curious about.
Oh, an absolute favorite. I still love the Casino Royale, the first Daniel Craig one. That one might be my favorite. My hot take, underrated one, Her Majesty's Secret Service, the only one George Lazenby did. That's a very good, underrated movie, and there are many, many references to that movie in the newest one, No Time to Die. Big fan. Loved it.
That's cool. Well, there you go. Now, if you want to watch all the James Bonds like Tyler did, you could know them.
Yeah.
Before we start the emails also, there's one quick thing I want to add from the episode last week, and it's because I feel like a little bit of a ding-dong, Tyler.
Oh, you're not a ding-dong, Mike.
Thank you. That's what I was fishing for. But also, I didn't know Private Carrera was a secret character on Tony Hawk. I played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 for N64 hundreds of hours, but that was...
It's not your fault, though.
In the early 2000s, I was a kid. I didn't look up cheat codes. I thought Officer Dick was the secret character, and that was it. And I never used cheat codes for that game. So either A, I am just naive, or B, I'm super honest, and I never wanted to cheat.
Private Carrera could only be unlocked with cheat codes.
That's right, because I was like, why do I not have this person unlocked?
But I appreciate your integrity to competing in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, the original, without cheating.
Thank you. Well, now I got to figure out how to get a retro tink or something so I can boot up and the Tony Hawk for N64 and try to enter the cheat code in and look at it, because I've never played as this character before, and one of my favorite games of all time.
Oh, man.
Feel like a real weirdo. But anyway, let's get into these emails. We got quite a few today. So do you want me to start or do you want to start? How do you feel?
How about you start?
All right. This first email is from Micah, and it is titled Wing Commander. Hey guys, enjoying the podcast here. The first episode I listened to was The Death and Rebirth of Arcades, but have since gone back and listened to all the episodes covering the ultimate history of video games up to date. Wow, thank you. Responding to your question about Wing Commander, I have fond memories of playing Wing Commander on the SNES, which I actually still have in my collection. That's really cool that you kept that. I also remember renting Wing Commander 3 and 4 for the PlayStation 1 from Blockbuster. Oh, love a good Blockbuster's memory. The interesting thing about PlayStation games is they use live-action cutscenes, and the main character or hero in the game is played by none other than Mark Hamill. What?
Wow, that's a big get for a Wing Commander, because that's like, I mean, Luke Skywalker in your space game is, dang, that's pretty good.
That's very impressive. Also, I also believe Malcolm McDowell of Clockwork Orange fame is in Wing Commander 4. This might possibly be one of the first instances of the use of big-name actors being used in a video game. Anyway, looking forward to future episodes. I was thinking maybe a history of skateboarding games. Oh, you're speaking my language, Micah. Maybe split it up into an old-school episode with 720, Skate or Die, and TNC Surf Designs, and an episode with more modern games like Tony Hawk and the Skate series. That's a great idea. I loved Skate or Die. I was so bad at it, but I played it quite a bit. Have you played Skate or Die for NES?
Tyler? I've never played Skate or Die. I did have 720 on the original Game Boy. Or I didn't have it, but I knew somebody who did, and so I played some of 720 on Game Boy Color.
You know what? I'm writing down skateboard games. I'm writing it down right now, because that's something that we need to do.
And you have to cover Disney Extreme Skateboarding, because that was a Disney skateboarding game, but it ran on the Tony Hawk engine. So it was Tony Hawk basically, but with Disney characters.
And is TNC Surf Designs, I've never heard of that. Is that a skateboarding game or like a surfing game? Because if we're going to go into surfing and skateboarding, then I feel like we could go into snowboarding, and I could include my beloved snowboard kids.
Snowboard kids. Sean Palmer's pro snowboarder.
Oh,
Sean
yeah.
Wright's. All the Sean's.
1080.
1080. Yeah, dude. Oh, man.
SSX. Oh, there's so many good ones. But that's a great idea. Really, we could just do like extreme sports games, because when that fad hit, it hit so hard. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, early 2000s. What a great time. Thank you for the email, Micah. You want to take up
Okay.
Mo's email here?
Yeah, we got a good one from Mo here. Many, many questions with quick answers, I think. Mo says, "Hey, dudes, it's Mo. You both mentioned last episode that RuneScape was your first MMO, and it took me down a fun line of questioning, although it can be hard to remember some of these. So here we go, Mike. What was the first video game or computer game you ever played?"
First video game I ever played, I'm pretty confident about this, is I lived in a duplex in Fairbanks, Alaska. When I was 4, the people next door to us was like an older couple, like grandparents. They had a Super Nintendo. First game I ever played was Super Mario World.
Dude, that's me too.
Pretty positive. Really? Like a other people's grandparent situation?
No. It was Super Mario World. It was at the daycare that I was going to. It was like a person's house, and they had a Super Nintendo. And that's like my first gaming memory is of Mario doing the little spin jump thing and landing on one of the crocodile guys that flattens when you jump on. You have to jump on twice unless you do the spin jump.
Yeah, I love that.
That's like my very first gaming memory, I think. I think that chronologically beats all other gaming memories.
Do you remember how old you were?
I couldn't have been more than like 3, maybe 4.
Yeah, I was 3 or 4 because we moved away from Fairbanks, Alaska to another city in Alaska called Eel River when I was 5. So I know for a fact that like I was 3 or 4. And it was followed up very quickly by Sonic the Hedgehog, because the people across the street, the girls that would babysit us, they had a Sega Genesis. And so
nice.
It was very much like Market Street in Fairbanks, Alaska in the early 90s was the place to be if you were
Just poppin'.
3 and playing video games. But it was great because the grandparents next door to us were like, their grandkids never came up because they were living in Alaska. So we were like their practice grandchildren that would hang out. And they would spoil us. And we would play Super Nintendo. It was sick. You know, it was a great situation.
Oh, that's cool. Next question. What was your first action platformer? Well, there you go. Super Mario World.
Yep.
First fully 3D game.
Fully 3D, because that is a little confusing to me because of, I would say Mario Kart, but that wasn't fully 3D, right? Because they were sprites still. Like the carts were sprites.
That's a good. Yeah, Mario Kart, Super Mario Kart was like mode 7. Do we really count that as like 3D on a Super Nintendo?
Oh, this actually okay. There was another note I needed to add at the beginning of the episode, and this just reminded me of it. Burger Champ is a hero. You know why? Because last episode, I talked about how I played these extreme sports games that I couldn't remember, where you were like an alien, you were rollerblading, BMX biking, or skateboarding.
Yeah.
Burger Champ remembered it exactly. They were called 2 Extreme and 3 Extreme were the names of those games.
Oh, wow. 2 Extreme, 3 Extreme.
Yep. They really didn't like naming-wise, they weren't really high up on the conventions there. But
no wonder you didn't remember.
Exactly. But I do remember playing those games. So thank you, Burger Champ, for that. But first, 3D game. It's probably going to be Mario 64 then.
Yeah, I think that's it for me, too.
It's going to be a 64 game.
Yeah. Mine maybe was... No, it was certainly... It had to be Mario 64, I think.
Yeah, that's good. My first RPG, I remember this next one, though.
Oh, what is it?
Final Fantasy VIII.
Final Fantasy VIII. Not Pokemon?
Oh, you know what? Didn't even think about Pokemon. You're right. It's Pokemon. It's 100% Pokemon Red. I'm sorry, everybody. I failed you. I forget Pokemon
because you don't think of
counts.
those as RPGs.
You don't.
For some reason, I don't think of them as RPGs. They are straight up JRPGs. Like, there's nothing...
Yep. It was Pokemon Red, Game Boy Color. Right there. Yeah. That's what I played it on.
I also had Pokemon Red. The Christmas that my brother got Pokemon Blue, I got Zelda, Link's Awakening for the Game Boy. So that might have been like if you consider that an RPG, it's like an action RPG, right? Like I think you could sort of consider that, especially because there's some level up mechanics with some of the weapons. But Yeah, my brother got Pokemon Blue, and then I guess my parents probably thought, well, they can share one Pokemon. They don't both need to have Pokemon games because we've never needed to have separate games in the past without realizing just how personal a playthrough of Pokemon is, you know? So then I ended up getting a Pokemon Red of my own not too long after that.
Dude, yeah, totally. That's good. That's real good.
And that you could only have one save file on a Pokemon game, whereas like Zelda, I could play a save file, my brother could play a save file, so it made sense.
Yeah. Cool.
So first FPS.
It's going to be GoldenEye for me.
GoldenEye. I'm going to go with Marathon on the Macintosh. It ran at a slideshow pace. It was like the demo that I think came on the like zip disk that comes with a zip drive, you know, that has all the tools on it. And I think it had a demo for Marathon on it. So I played that. I couldn't really play it. It was very unplayable on the computer I had at the time. But technically speaking, that was it.
You know what? I'm trying to remember. It's either GoldenEye or Doom because there was a uncle's house that he had Doom and he let us play it, but I don't know when that was. This is the hard part, is I'm like counting memories through my head and like trying to chronologically order them.
Yeah,
like
that's difficult. Mine could have also been Chex Quest. That would have been after the Macintosh. That's
a great first FPS, though. Like, if your first FPS is Chex Quest, that's pretty cool. You know what I mean?
That was probably the first one I was able to actually play, because I took it over to my friend's house. Like, we played Chex Quest. I love that game.
It's a great game. For being a product placement game, it's perfect.
Yeah. And I think it comes out on Switch in the spring or something soon. The HD remake, it's like $5.
Oh, yeah. Are we going to get that? Can we play it co-op together? That's what I want to know.
I don't think it has multiplayer.
That's sad.
Yeah, which is really too bad. Okay, first strategy game.
First strategy game is going to be... I played Command and Conquer fairly young. That's an RTS, so that would count on a... like family member's computer, kind of like, hey, these kids are annoying. Let's put them on the computer while they play Command and Conquer. And it worked. It's either going to be Command and Conquer or it's going to be Warcraft 2. Those are the first ones I played of that genre.
Okay.
And then shortly after that was Advanced Wars.
Nice. Okay. So for me, if we don't count SimCity as a strategy game, then it was probably the game 1602, Anno 1602. I loved that game, and I think it came out in like 98.
What is this? What is that game about? I've never heard of this.
It's about like it. So the conceit of the Anno series is because there's Anno 1602, there's like 1503, 1401. They are still coming out with games, and they like kind of go into the future. They go way into the past, and they're real-time strategy games, but less focused on like war and fighting, and more on building up your civilization or whatever. But it's not like a civilization game because it's not turn-based. It is real-time. And I had a lot of fun building up it's a lot of resource management and stuff. And there is some war stuff. Like you can definitely go and take over islands and stuff. But it's fun because it has like a randomly generated map, and then you go settle an island and you build up your civilization, and then you try to take over the other civilizations if you can. I used to play with my brother. We play over the network. We had like one Ethernet cable going between our computers, a crossover cable, and we played 1602. You load the game up with the CD in the drive, and because it wouldn't load up without the CD, so you would load up one game, like the host or whatever would load it up, and then you take the CD out and put it in another computer, and then you would load up the other game to connect because it didn't need the CD once the game was loaded. But I thought that was funny.
That is great. Gosh, I never played these games. I feel like I missed out on something here.
They're fun. Yeah, I really like 1602. I haven't really been able to get into any of the newer ones, but I think I just am a different gamer now.
Yeah, I mean, you go through phases. It changes, you know.
Yeah.
We talk about that a lot.
Yeah. First racing game, I think ours is the same.
Mario Kart 64?
Super Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo.
See, I played... This is interesting. I played Super Mario Kart after 64 because there was a babysitter that had a Super Nintendo, whereas I had the 64. And when I would go over to his house, that's also where I was introduced to Street Fighter 2 for the first time.
Oh, nice. So for a first 3D game, then, you were referring to Mario Kart 64, then?
Yes.
Oh, I would say that is a 3D game. I know that the characters themselves are sprites, but like the rest of the game is polygons, right?
Okay, I guess that's true then.
So I think I would call that
a
fully 3D game.
Okay.
Yeah, I give it a pass.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, we got a bunch more of these, so we need to get through these because we have a lot of emails. Fighting game.
Yeah, Street Fighter 2 on SNES.
Street Fighter 2. Killer Instinct for me. First sim game.
I had SimCity for PlayStation. It ran terribly.
Nice.
SimCity 2000, but it was fine. It was fun.
I had SimCity 2000 on the first Windows 95 computer my family bought in 1997. Came with a copy of SimCity 2000.
That's cool that it came with that.
Yeah, it was very cool. First puzzle game.
Tetris.
Yeah, gotta go Tetris. Maybe Tetris Attack for me, but probably just the original Tetris. Sports game.
It was the Madden with Brett Favre on the cover. I don't remember the year, but I just know it had Brett Favre on the cover.
Oh, my first sports game. If we're going with like the Maddens of the like not 1080 snowboarding, maybe if 1080 snowboarding counts, then it's probably that. But like sports game might have been actually Madden like 2004. Like I was pretty late. I don't really like sports games. I did play some Madden because my brother was into it for a little while and our neighbor was into it, and so we went through a phase where we played some Madden 2004. But yeah, as far as my first one goes, probably 1080 snowboarding if we count that.
Oh, if we're counting like extreme sports games, then I suppose Tony Hawk would outbeat Madden for me.
Yeah, that would have been 99.
Yeah. Tony
2000 for Super Nintendo or for 64.
Again, this is kind of like the elementary school years in Eagle River, Alaska. I can't remember which came first. You know?
Yeah, it's tough. Okay, last one from Mo here. First online game.
Honestly, this is still going to be RuneScape for me because I did not play really any online games until RuneScape.
Yeah, I think it's either RuneScape for me. There's a slight chance that it was Star Wars Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast. But I had dial-up for a long time, and so I really didn't play games online because it was just not worth it, you know?
Yeah, that's true. It's like, it was, for me, it was all the systems I owned didn't play online until I was in college, really, is when I started playing online a lot. Or even high school, I didn't really play online that much. It was really college that I started playing online games. So RuneScape was the first little diversion into online video gaming for me.
Yeah, it probably was RuneScape for me. That probably came before Jedi Outcast for me. Because I played pretty early on in RuneScape.
And then I got scammed in RuneScape, and I didn't play it ever again because I was upset.
Oh.
Yep. You know?
So sad.
You live, you learn. Okay.
Yep. That's the last of Mo's questions here. He says, still no spider butts in the inventory. Jaguar butts. Mo. Thanks, Mo. Those are fun. I love
that.
Was
like fun. That. Thanks, Mo. All right. Mark sent us an email. The subject line is calculator games. Oh, here we go. Hi, Mike and Tyler. Your first episode on Flash games brought back a lot of memories and was a lot of fun to listen to. Though there weren't Flash games, it reminded me of how in high school some of my friends used to load games like Block Dude, onto their graphing calculators to play in class. I never did this myself, but it was probably the first time I saw video games being played on a device that not specifically intended for that. Did you guys ever play calculator games or other games on a device you wouldn't expect? Keep up the good spider butting work. Mark.
You bet. I played a lot of calculator games. Get TI-83, load up Mirage OS. Oh, man. Good times.
I played Block Dude, too.
Yeah, Block Dude, I want to say, I could be wrong about this. I want to say Block Dude came pre-installed on the silver edition of the TI-83.
Oh, like they kind of fully embraced it?
Yeah, like I think it was built in. And then for Mirage OS, you either had to know somebody who already had it because you could, like a virus, you could transfer it between, you needed to have a transfer cable as well, which was like, I think it was just the 3.5 millimeter like audio jack. But if you knew someone with Mirage OS and games, then they would like a virus sort of spread through the school, I think. Or if you could figure out yourself how to load stuff on it from your computer, you needed a special cable for that. That was like a USB or a serial cable that went to that 3.5 millimeter. Yeah, I was definitely the spreading vector for a lot of video games on TI-83 calculators, because once somebody knew that you could get a game on their calculator and they knew who it was like a shady drug deal, because, you know, teachers aren't going to let you do it. You would like go to that person and like, oh man, it was like, yeah, it was definitely like shady drug deals, but definitely like wholesome and not drug deals at all.
As you say, like a rat on a sailing ship spreading the bubonic plague, Tyler is giving away Block Dude.
That's right. Block Dude. I played Fall Down, which I feel like eventually got a iOS version, I think, too. I played, I had this cool shooting game, like a Phoenix game, There was a Mega Man game for it too that I played. None of these were official.
One of them for me that I remember the most is it was a lot like Raiden, where you'd upgrade your ship between each level and you'd buy parts for it and you could shoot more. But it was
that's what I'm thinking of. It was like called Phoenix something, I think.
Is it Phoenix? Is that what it was? I played that more than any other calculator game because I would you just go on a run and you'd like just build up your. It went until you died essentially. So you would just keep going and going and going and going, and then your ship would explode and you'd be really sad. But then math would be over, which was exciting.
Wow, it's like you're describing my life.
I know, right? You're like, oh man, that calculator games really made it so I did poorly in math my senior year of high school. All right. The next email, you want to read Shane's email?
Yeah, it's another Wing Commander one.
I love this. I need to play Wing Commander. I have no experience with these games at all.
Yeah.
And I know it's a big part of gaming that I've just missed out on.
Yeah, I have not played it either. So Shane says, hello, Tylor and Michael.
Hello. It's good.
Strange way to spell them. That's funny. You asked for emails from people who played Wing Commander. Well, here I am. I not only played this game with my friend on PS1, but we also saw the film adaptation released in 1999. I don't remember much about the game other than my friend loved it, and I most definitely did not. I also remember being really bad at the game, so that probably explains my dislike. As for the movie, holy spider butts, was it god-awful. Despite Oscar-worthy performances from Freddie Prinze Jr. and Matthew Lillard, the film simply wasn't savable. Even as a kid whose tolerance for crappy entertainment was pretty high, I knew it was flat out bad. On opening weekend, it was a mostly empty theater, so my buddy and I Mystery Science Theater 3000 the whole thing. Anyway, that's it for me. Mike, congrats on the pending nuptials. Seriously awesome. Spider Patooties, Shane.
Oh, thank you, Shane. Yeah, I am engaged. I don't know if I mentioned that on the podcast.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Not like Patrick Stewart engaged, but like we're getting married, so that's exciting. The experience of going into an empty theater for a bad movie and doing your own Mystery Science Theater 3000 is very important, I think, to have that happen as a kid. And that's really cool that you got to experience that, Shane, because I saw the first X-Men movie with like Patrick Stewart and like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, right? And my mom let me skip school after an orthodontist appointment and just took me to it. And her and I were the only people in the theater. And I Mystery Science Theatered with my mom, the X-Men movie. And it wasn't a bad movie. It was mostly her turning to me and being like, who's that? Like explaining it. But it was. Oh,
that's so nice because it means your mom wanted to just, because she knew you're an X-Men fan probably.
Oh, yeah.
And like just wanted to go hang out with you and like ask you about this thing that you love that they made a movie of. That's so nice.
Jackie's the best. Okay. Also, her name's Jackie, which is a very good mom name, I feel like. As far as being like, name, Jackie? Yeah. Okay, so Shane, that's a great email, though. And I need to get into Wing Commander. I need to try it.
Yeah. The empty theater thing, I went into the Ratchet and Clank movie that came out a few years ago, 5-6 years ago now. Jeez. I went into it with a buddy of mine. We're both big Ratchet and Clank fans. Yeah, we didn't think the movie would be that great, but we were like, let's go see this movie. We were literally the only people in that movie theater to see this mediocre. It was not bad, but it was like not. It also didn't need to be made, Ratchet and Clank movie.
That I heard that movie was kind of just like, I think from you were the one that just told me.
Yeah,
it's kind of like
it's fine. It's like, why did you make it? Like, it's not bad. It didn't like I wasn't offended by it, but I also was like, okay, cool. I didn't need that.
Yeah, that could have gone without it. So.
Yeah.
All right. The next email is from Sam from Alabama, and the subject line is "A new emailer approaches." And Sam says, "Hi, Mike and Tyler. Sam from Alabama here to say how much I love this podcast. You guys clearly put your heart and soul into it, and it shows. Also, I love your wholesome attitudes and friendship. Thank you, Sam."
Oh, thanks, Sam.
I really enjoyed your recent episode about Nuzlocke runs. I consider myself a Pokemon newbie, but a fan nonetheless, and I love the idea of imposing rules to make a game more interesting. All the Pokemon talk has made me want to boot up some Fire Red on my Game Boy Advance and finally get around to beating it. I've actually never beaten a Pokemon game. I am so late to the Poketrain because I used to dislike how slow-paced the battle system was, but I've since gave it another chance and found it to be really chill and fun. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that, Sam. My, quote, Pokemon before becoming a fan was actually the Mega Man Battle Network series. I remember this. I never played it, but I know that name.
Yeah, me too.
I got it for my Game Boy when I was 8 years old, and I've loved its fast and skill based gameplay ever since. It seems Capcom had made the Battle Network series as a response to the popularity of Pokemon, and hot take is still my favorite collect and battle RPG. Ooh, Sam, that's so hot.
Hot take, indeed.
I also had a copy of Sonic Battle, which was a very similar knockoff of Pokemon. You know, doing like Pokemon knockoff games during the Pokemon phase would be a fun episode.
Yeah, Sonic Battle was fun. Yeah, it was like an action combat game. It was a lot of fun. My brother had it, and I think he played it and beat it. It's pretty cool.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it's definitely worth us checking out then, I think. That brings me to my question. What are some games that y'all know of that were really fun, but stole some or all of their key mechanics from another game? I think all of us Codex fans would love to hear more games like Jaybird and John Glane's Law. What do you think? Do you have any on the top of your head?
My favorite, I have actually already discussed this episode, Chex Quest. It's a straight up reskin of Doom. So all the levels are new. There's like 5 new levels in that game, but all of the guns, while they have new graphics for them, are literally just Doom guns. They're the same exact thing as the Doom guns.
Yeah. You know, and for me, and I think, yeah, you know, it wasn't really a knockoff, but it was a knockoff, but it was enough of its own that it probably didn't count for this, but Cool Spot, the 7-Up themed game that was a platformer where you would shoot 7-Up out of your hand, felt very Mega Man-y to me. Not like you don't level it up or anything, but it's just very much like the same weapon the whole game, but it felt that way, and it was very much a knockoff game. You know, a lot of those product placement games were that, though.
Yeah, where they just take a game that was already popular and reskin it.
Yeah.
And it would be like guaranteed good game and also got their product out there.
Yeah, totally.
Not a bad strategy, to be honest.
No, not really at all. Especially if something's like really hot, you know, you might as well keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Sam goes on to say, thanks for reading this short novel from a fan, lol, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. May the spider butts be ever in your favor. Sam from Alabama. Thank you, Sam. That's
Thanks,
great.
Sam.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of there's definitely games I've played that have been knockoff. Well, there were so many kart games, you know, like Diddy Kong Racing, so many Mario Kart clones. And I actually really liked the Lego kart game.
Lego Racers?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love that too.
Lego Racers was really fun, even though it was a straight up ripoff of Mario Kart. It was really fun.
But you could build your own kart. It was a ripoff, but it added on to it. You know,
it really did.
It contributed back to the genre, I think.
I don't know. I'm trying to remember what I had Lego Racers on. Like what system
I had it on Nintendo 64.
That's probably what I had it on too, but I probably rented it, I think. That might have been a rental. There are so many games where I'm like, where's that game go? Why don't I own it? And I'm like, oh, I think I rented it. But in my mind, I owned it now. You know? But I just rented it from Blockbuster back then.
Because you probably played it for 20 hours straight on the weekend that you rented it, and it's like burning your brain now.
Exactly. And I just ignored my homework. Classic.
Yep.
Do you want to read Will's email here?
Yeah. Will says, mailbag episode. Mike and Tyler, hi there. Will from Ohio here. Happy mailbag week. I am admittedly a Pokemon nerd at heart, and what a year it has shaped up to be for the franchise. We just got an amazing game in Legends Arceus and now have 2 new Generation 9 games to look forward to later this year. My questions for you regarding the Pokemon games are, 1. Which of the newer gameplay mechanics from Arceus would you like to see in the new games? For me, I like the new style that focuses on capturing Pokemon, but I definitely miss the core battling style of traditional Pokemon games. If Game Freak can find a way to balance this, I think the new games will be fantastic. Well, I haven't played Arceus yet. I think I will be playing it as I travel, starting this weekend and into the next couple weeks.
Such a good thing for you. You're going to have so much fun because you could really dive into it on those long plane rides, and you're going to have a great time. I'm
pretty stoked.
For me,
what do you think?
I agree. I think that the capturing Pokemon thing should stay because for me, I like the choice of being able to sneak up on an alpha Pokemon and try to feed it food and distract it and throw balls or battle it. I like having the choice versus it was always battle before. Mm-hmm. I like the choice is what I want them to keep in the new Pokemon game. I also like that you can, this was like an older thing they did for this isn't a new mechanic, but knowing what Pokemon's there and not having to deal with random encounters is great. I'm a big fan of that. So I can just move on and save some time. So I want them to keep that in there as well.
They started doing that in the Let's Go series, which was
that was
good
it.
Too.
Yeah. And Arceus being like, that's the Pokemon that's there. There's no surprises. Just go. And also the feeling of seeing a Pokemon you don't have is just very exciting. Like when you walk into an area and you're like, oh, there's something I don't have there. And you can like walk up to it like, what is that? And you got to get in closer and look. And it's really cool.
Yeah.
That's nice. A fun feeling.
Okay, second question from Will. What mechanics would you like to see added to the new versions? I have always loved Pokemon being able to follow you around in the overworld. I think that if Game Freak can do it in the Isle of Armor overworld for Sword and Shield, they can do it for the whole game. I would also be interested in seeing a story-style tournament mode against the computer reminiscent of the Pokemon Stadium games where the trainer's difficulty can change every tournament, or have expanded Battle Frontier classes so you can play fun preset tiers like the Little Cup, or customize your own tiers to limit what Pokemon you and other trainers may use. Then you can share these custom tier settings online with anyone who wants to use them, so it becomes very community-driven. Wow, that sounds fun. What do you think, Mike?
I really like the follow mechanic because then you can like have a favorite at the time, you know, and float around them. I like that you can change that up. Like Pokemon Go is what made me think about the following thing and having like a buddy. But other than that, I think I agree with all the mechanics that Will says here. I can't really think of one off the top of my head that I would really want to add in. That's not from Legends Arceus, because I've had so much Legends Arceus stuff on the brain lately.
Yeah.
I really want them to keep, and I don't think they will, because it's very this is what makes Arceus versus other Pokemon games. I like that the Pokedex is not just capturing the Pokemon. I want the Pokedex entries to be complete by doing other things too. Like having more optional objectives. So if you could catch the Pokemon in the new Pokemon Violet or is it Violet and Scarlet? I think that's what it is. Yeah. Games. And then also still have to do other things like take pictures of them like Pokemon Snap style. That would be cool. You know, or I just like to have it be more in depth, and that's what I want. So that's kind of what I would want them to add mechanics wise. Maybe throw in a couple silly Pokemon Snap stuff in there. I never played the new one though. The new Pokemon Snap. But because Arceus is just what I've always wanted in a Pokemon game, that it's been so distracting. I can't think of anything else.
Yeah. I think I would like to see more party-focused battle stuff. So like in a Final Fantasy game, you have an entire party of people and everybody has kind of a different role. I know that they've done like 2v2 battles and even 3v3, like triple battles in some games, but I would like to see that be like the main style of fighting. So like when I go fight another trainer, it's my team versus his team or their team, and not like my first Pokemon versus their first Pokemon, my second Pokemon versus their first Pokemon. You know what I mean? Like 1v1, like a series of 1v1 battles. I just want to see like 6 Pokemon just fighting all at the same time.
Yeah, that would be cool. Like
maybe with some light tactics stuff in there. I'm not generally a huge like tactics, like positioning fan, but I think like being able to put your like beefier tanks up front and your ranged things behind, I think that would be cool.
So having like a little auto chess style setup to it.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool. I would really like that. You know what I want I don't want in the games is I don't want like 700 billion things like Pokemon fashion contests and in Alpha Sun and Alpha Moon, they have this whole like online square that you can go to, and while it's cool they've added all those features in it, it just, the game's already pretty big, you know. Let's tone it down a little bit, just a little bit for me. Yeah, but I mean, I know some people love that stuff, so I don't want to yuck other people's yum, if you will.
Yeah. Last question from Will here. What is your opinion on IVs/EVs in Pokemon? We should explain what these are first. So IVs, I want to say, are inherent values or something like that, and EVs are effort values. And I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, Mike, the difference is IVs are a hidden stat that each Pokemon has that like sort of determines what their like starting stats are, like their base stats, and then effort values are earned by battling other Pokemon. Also a hidden stat, they don't tell you about these, but like by battling other Pokemon, and that sort of determines which stats grow on a Pokemon. So if you want a specific Pokemon with like really high defense stats, you would first look for one that has the high defense stat to start with, and then you would train them in a specific way against specific Pokemon to get like those higher defense EVs, so that when they level up, they have higher defense stats.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's right. And that's also how you see people like beating Blastoise with Charizard, because they have like their special defense like all the way up. So even though it's water typing, it doesn't do anything. I never really mess with IVs and EVs because it's a very min-maxy way to play Pokemon. And for me, Pokemon is that kind of like chill thing we talked about earlier, where it's like, I beat the game, I see everything, I do all the things I want to do, and then I call it and wait for the next one.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that you have to have IVs and EVs in a Pokemon game for the people that want to sit there and min-max, and this is the game they play as Pokemon, and they want to breed and find the right IVs and the right EVs and go from there. I think it's good they have this system in there, because without it, you wouldn't have the hardcore competitive battling scene that we have. But even though I'm kind of a completionist, I just think in my head, I can't do this. I can't sit here and IV and EV min-max stat Pokemon, because it's just going to take too much time. So you have to have it in there, I think, though, for those people that are really competitive.
Yeah. I actually kind of like it being hidden, because it means that if you don't care, you can ignore it, and you totally can. Like, people play and beat Pokemon games all the time, not even knowing these things exist. I think that's good. I should actually probably finish reading Will's opinion here on this. Will says, being a perfectionist is hard for me to enjoy Pokemon games sometimes when I know I have to spend hours breeding or searching for Pokemon with good IVs to stand a chance in competitive battling. I would make all Pokemon have the same IVs. Then, strategy and customization of your battle style comes into play with how you distribute EVs across your Pokemon stats and designate your move pool accordingly. Maybe that's just me, though. I like that idea, because, like, finding a Pokemon with the right IVs of just inherent, like, starting values is just a crapshoot. It's just random, right? It's how much time can I put into this before I find the one that I want? Whereas EVs is where you actually strategize and decide what you value. When you're making interesting decisions, I think is much more compelling to me to put the time, like, to put time into a game, making decisions, rather than just like rolling the dice over and over to try to get whatever the quote unquote best thing is, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But I'm going to play devil's advocate here a bit, because that RNG element of IVs is what keeps people playing Pokemon, so I don't think they'll ever get rid of it. Even though it's silly, and I agree with that, I think that chase of finding the perfect IV, kind of like shiny hunting. You know what I mean?
I think that's a better thing than IVs.
Yeah, but I think people like to find those hidden values. Because how do you even look up an IV?
Well, that's the thing. You really can't.
You can't? So they're just kind of guessing this Pokemon has a max IV because this is happening?
You go based off of whatever they're starting, like I don't know.
I don't
right?
know.
I'm not a Pokemon
I
person.
also don't know enough about
and this
IVs
is
and EVs.
the problem with the system, too.
Yeah.
Right, is that we don't know, and there's no intuitive way for us to learn. I think you go like, oh, I caught the Pokemon, it's level 20, here's what its stats are. I can sort of derive its IVs based off of that.
I've never been so competitive in Pokemon that I've done this at all.
And I think the when you say like it keeps people playing the game, I think that there are so few people that are that competitive that like the amount of people still playing the game because of IVs is so small that it can't be worth it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Or that they're not worth considering in that sense, right? Like, I don't know. They're going to spend that time playing the game no matter what. I would give them more interesting decisions to make rather than just give them something to like a random RNG thing to chase.
Give them a new decision to make, and maybe make EVs more complex, like Will's saying here. Or
yeah.
I like this. What Will's saying, though. I agree with Will. Will seems like an expert. You know, I like the cut of his jib, as they say. So I think it's a good idea to do this. Make it so all IVs are the same, and EVs is what you focus on, because then it's a stat that everyone can see. You know, and I know there are people like me out there, because I've seen a lot of videos on IVs and EVs, and I just ignore it because I'm like, I don't want to get into that. Like, you know, it just seems way too complex.
I'm sure there's somebody listening to us talk about this right now, like, they've got it all wrong. This is not how it is. And like, that's kind of part of the problem, if you ask me, is that it's like not intuitive either.
Yeah, totally. Because it's hidden. It's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
But Will, this was a great email. Great email. Solid. Big fan. And I'm very excited for Scarlet. Are you excited for it?
Yeah, I need to play Arceus first, but I'm cautiously optimistic. I don't know. I haven't really played a mainline Pokemon game in a while. I skipped Sword and Shield. I did not get very far into Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon.
I beat Ultra Moon, didn't play Sword and Shield, and I still haven't beaten Arceus yet. I've had kind of a break. We'll talk about that in what you've been playing, but I've been playing other stuff. Cool. Thank you for the email, Will. Peter. This is Peter's email. It says, Tony Hawk plus rhythm games equals my greatest achievement is the subject line. And this is a great email, and I'm very excited to read this. Here we go. Peter says, I lived in Tokyo during the time rhythm games were taking hold. I remember a bewilderment upon returning to America in my late teens and seeing it overrun by a weird version of Guitar Freaks. Everyone under a certain age who lived in Tokyo from 94 to 99 had rhythm game skills. It was unavoidable. I decided I couldn't lose my edge a few years later when I purchased a secondhand PS1 with a copy of Tony Hawk Pro Skater and obtained a DDR pad for free, as the fad in America was over by this time. For most of a summer, I gave myself the challenge of beating Tony Hawk with the DDR pad. At first, I decided I would beat it by standing over the pad and performing skateboard moves as a close to realistic manner as I could. It's surprising how much Tony Hawk moves on a DDR pad resemble real half-pipe motions. Pressing forward with one foot and using your back foot to steer left and right is a little like skateboarding. The need to press 2-button combos with a direction button requires you to drop to the ground and forward and backwards in a way that resembles some skateboarding and snowboarding grab moves too. By later levels, I had to resort to sitting or kneeling in the center of the pad at times in order to pull off enough moves to beat the game. I got nowhere near 100%, but I did manage to just barely clear the game. It was real hard, but totally worth it. Later, I tried to beat other odd games with the DDR pad, but nothing else ever worked as well as Tony Hawk. I did try Tony Hawk 2, but it seemed way too hard right off the bat. Years later, people told me I would enjoy Tony Hawk Ride, but it just seemed weird for the board to be on the ground. Weirdly, I think my favorite Tony Hawk was on the Game Boy Advance. I think it was Underground. That game did a lot more than you would expect. Thanks for the great show, Peter. Peter, that is such a good story because we were talking about how we want to do an episode on people that have beaten games with the, not wrong, but alternative control schemes. And
like Guitar Hero controller, Dark Souls or something.
Yeah, or DDR pad Tony Hawk. This is great. And I'm so excited you emailed us because this is a perfect story. And that you had to adapt as you played the game because you had to do more combos is just great. Oh,
that's funny.
I love this.
Oh, also shout out to Tony Hawk on the Game Boy Advance. I had Tony Hawk 2 on my GBA and loved that game. I played so much of that game. So good.
I never played those Game Boy Advance Tony Hawks, and I feel like this is the first time I've heard it's good. I feel like I missed out. I had other friends tell me it was pretty good, and I've missed out on that. So,
yeah.
Peter, thank you for sharing. That's a great email. Great story. Loved it.
All right. Got one from Grime Bucket here. Hi, Mike and Tyler. It's been a while since I've emailed or participated on Discord, but I listen faithfully every week and, of course, love the show. Thanks for keeping it going. Thanks, Grimes. Between my growing family and my job, as I ceaselessly continue to get older, I find myself with less and less time to play video games. I'm lucky to get 3 to 5 hours of gaming in for the whole week, and some weeks I don't find time at all. With limited time to commit to the hobby, I find it ever difficult to really dig into long, more expansive games like The Witcher 3 or GTA 5, both of which I own but haven't yet fired up. And that GTA 5 is getting almost 10 years old now, bud.
Wow.
He goes on to say, I don't necessarily want to play one game exclusively for 6 months, and it also feels really bad to continually build up my pile of shame of games that I've abandoned. As a result, I've adapted my game playing philosophy, and I'm interested to hear if you've ever done something similar. When I start a new game, I now set a completion goal for myself. This goal can be anywhere from completing the first mission to completing the entire story and anywhere in between. For instance, in Doom 1993, my personal goal was to complete the first chapter. In Doom 2016, it was to complete the first 3 missions. In Jurassic World Evolution, it was to 4-star the first 2 islands. If, after completing my personal goal and I'm having a great time with the game, I can keep on playing, consider it bonus time. If, however, I'm ready to move on to something new, I can mark it as complete and happily put it on the shelf. This new philosophy has really helped my compulsive need to finish everything I start and find myself enjoying my gaming time much more. Anyway, just wondered if you've ever done something similar and thought maybe some of your listeners with limited gaming time might find my revelation useful. Keep making the world a better place. Sincerely, Grime Bucket. Thanks, Grime Bucket.
That's a great outlook. I definitely have done that, especially with older games. So, because I think I talked about this a month or 2 ago. I got the Far Cry collection on sale on Steam, not really knowing much about Far Cry 1 and how insanely difficult it was.
Yeah, and it gets real weird.
I 100% did this. I was like, oh, I'm in the first level. I'm beating my head against the wall of the middle part of the level. And I told myself, beat the first level and be done. And that's what I did. And it was so much better. Instead of spending hours and hours and hours trying to beat this whole game, I spent 2 hours on an afternoon, beat the first level. And I was like, you know what? I've experienced Far Cry 1 and I shelved it. And by that, I mean, I uninstalled it because it's digital. But still. Also, Grime Bucket is making a great choice here by only doing the first 2 islands of Jurassic World Evolution, because there's no time control in that game, and I 5-starred all the islands, and it took me hours and hours. And it was like, you have it on because there's no time limit, but you need to save money, so you just go do something else. Like, it was on, and I'd be like reading a book.
Just waiting for your money to accumulate.
Yeah, so I think Grime Bucket here made a great choice by not doing the other islands. You pretty much experienced the game. Good job. What about you, Tyler?
I do like this idea of like setting a goal and then saying, okay, once I've hit this goal, I can guilt-free put it back on the shelf if I'm done with it. I like the spirit of that idea. I sort of do something similar where I don't necessarily set a goal out when I first get a game, but I play it for a while, and then if I notice after another little while that I'm not really playing it, that I'm just playing other things when I get gaming time, and it's just sat in my playing column for a long time on my Trello board, I will like sort of have like a sit down with myself and say, okay, do you actually want to finish this game, or is the reason you're not coming back to it because you're not really having fun while you play it? And sometimes I go, no, actually, I do want to play this and finish this game. I definitely had that moment with Metroid Dread where I went like a couple weeks without playing it. And then when I sat down with myself and said, hey, do you actually want to finish this game? I said, yes, actually, I do really want to finish this game. I can't remember if there's something more recent that I did that with where I sat down and said, you know what? I actually don't care to finish this game. And I'm just going to put it back on the shelf. And I think it was... well, I don't move things to my done column, I guess, if I do that. So I can't find one here.
I made a new column. And for Far Cry, I called it Nope. And then I realized that's kind of negative because it's not like the game's bad. It's just I don't want to put my time into this right now. So I think, because it's still Nope right now on there, but I think I'm going to change it to Experienced.
Yeah, or Shelved. Maybe Shelved is good.
Like, I played the game. I just didn't really feel like going and putting more time into it. I'm shelving it. And that's like a more permanent version of noping it out of like less harsh than Nope. Because Borderlands pre-sequel, I am not going to beat. That's a game I've just decided I'm not going to beat the game. And it's not because the game's bad. It's more Borderlands, which is fine. It's just I feel like I've kind of fallen out with Borderlands as a genre. You know?
Yeah.
I forced myself to beat Borderlands 3, and I was kind of just like, oh, okay, it's over. And then I just stopped. And so I think having like Experienced or Shelved is a good way to do it. Like, you tried the game, you experienced it, you could talk about it with friends, which is really, I mean, that's why I'm always playing video games now, is just talk about it with you all the time. Yeah. I think that's a good way to put it. Good way to do it.
Yeah. I just created a label for mine. I'm calling it Shelved. And I will still put it in the done column, but it has a label on it that says shelved. So if I'm ever looking to like go back, I can find these shelved games pretty easily.
Nice.
So it still goes in the done column, and then it doesn't stay on my like pile of shame. Yeah, okay, that's good.
My pile of shame has gotten very big, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think...
Thanks, Grime Bucket. That's very helpful.
That is very helpful. Grime Bucket, you're crushing it right now. It sounds weird saying that because a Grime Bucket sounds negative, but you are doing a great job. All right, here we go. This next email is from Burger Champ, and the subject line is Skin in the Game. Ahoy, Codex Serenos. Been a while. Here goes. One thing that has pervaded toys and games, board and video alike, is the concept of licensed rebranding. Already got a ray gun mold for your dollar store toy company? Slap a Star Wars sticker on it, and now you're looking at a $2 store. Regular operation is fun, but what if you could operate on Liberace or Tony Soprano? Are there any games you have probably enjoyed more because it's wearing a Halloween costume of something you like? If you could take an existing game or game type and slather it with a couple coats of marketing, what branded game would you make? Probably your long lost son, Burger Champ.
Pokemon Monopoly. Way better than regular Monopoly. I will stand by that. So much more fun. Still not great, but more fun. That's mine.
Yeah, I mean, I already talked about Cool Spot. That's definitely a game that they slapped a 7-Up sticker on and just did it because it's not even about 7-Up. You're just fighting on like a beach, and you're like miniature size, so you're fighting like bigger versions of normal animals. If actually, you know what? If they did a Call of Duty Army Men crossover game, I would be all about it.
Oh, like an Army Man game, but Call of Duty engine?
Yeah, I put the Army Man games on our list because that's like a big part of my childhood was I played a lot of those Army Man games. And some were good, some were bad, but I played them. I tried them.
Yeah.
And I miss that. That genre is really gone. And I mean, it's kind of come back. Like some indies are trying to make it. There's a game called Mean Green's Plastic Warfare. That's like a multiplayer version. But if they would get like big name Call of Duty or something and put an Army Man skin on it, it would be kind of fun.
Yeah. They kind of did that with the Quantum of Solace game for back to James Bond, Codex James Bond history. The Quantum of Solace video game is like basically just rebranded Call of Duty. It's made by Treyarch. It's in the Call of Duty engine. It's basically just rebranded Call of Duty.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it good? It sounds like it would be good.
I haven't really played it, but I do plan to play it.
Is it on 360 or Xbox?
Yes.
Okay, we could play it then, because we could do it on 360 together. That'd be fun. That'd be good. Well, you know what? It's going to be better then, no matter what? Ricochet. That's for sure. Oh man, that was fun. That was really fun playing that with with Codex listeners and people in Discord. It was super fun.
Yeah.
But that game, oh boy, did not age well.
Not great.
Not great. What about other stuff I feel like I would also want to have a SimCity or Civilization type game in a fantasy world. Like it's like Civilization, but it's Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah.
That would be super fun to me. There's a lot of...
I feel like there was a Game of Thrones game that was like that.
Was it? You like build up your kingdom and you have to deal with the other kingdoms and stuff like that. That feels like a very good genre crossover, because I always found with Game of Thrones, the diplomacy scenes were very intense and I liked that. Where the other nations are talking, the other kingdoms are talking to each other and there's like this brink of war thing. And then sometimes it would just be really bloody and end up in a murder party.
Let's see, Game of Thrones Genesis.
Oh yeah, because Genesis was a thing they used for like city builders. They would say that, because there's also a Jurassic Park game that was like Genesis. That was like a park builder kind of game.
Capturing nodes, castles, towns, and gold mines with characters. And then there was an action role-playing game. There's Blood of Dragons, released in 2007. What is that?
Oh man!
Oh, it was a web browser game. Never mind.
Oh, take that, web browser games! Boom, roasted. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this rebranding thing. I do like it when they just slap a sticker on something and go for it. I mean, that's what I think the most famous version of that is Mario 2. Different game, slap Mario on it. It's great. Good job.
Yep.
Why is Mario throwing these beakers of chemicals and then doors are appearing? No one knows, but it's great.
It was all a dream. It doesn't matter.
It was all a dream. Thank you, Burger Champ.
Next email is from Alex. Alex says, "Hey Jaybird Champions, watch the episode where you guys talked about Drunken Mario Party. Can confirm it is probably the funniest way to play it. Kind of a tradition with me and my friends' party. We would definitely consider if you had a free night." Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Drunken Mario Party confirmed. Great game.
It is. It's a great way. Also, it's fun to just have Halo nights where you party and drink with friends and play Halo. Just any game that has that kind of atmosphere. I wish I had gotten into Fusion Frenzy a lot, because I feel like Fusion Frenzy would be a good game for that too.
Yeah.
Big fan. Next email is from Matt in Japan. Great mailbag question. Probably the most pertinent mailbag question we've received today. If you could only eat one crayon for the rest of your life, what color would it be?
Green. I think green tastes the best.
I'm going to go with Tickle Me Pink.
Wow. You're getting real specific.
It looks like candy, so I might pretend it's candy,
Yeah, okay. Sure.
Matt, you didn't say what crayon color you would eat in your email, so we need to know that. Please send us an email back. This is very important and very pertinent to the conversation. Thank you.
Okay, last email. This one's from Alexis. Alexis writes, "Hello, Mike and Tyler. I'm Alexis from Western New York, and I just want to say your podcast is one of my favorites. I think you guys are doing a great job making each episode both informative and entertaining. I also enjoy hearing your personal experiences / opinions involving the subject matter, even those spicy hot takes. Anyway, I had a suggestion for an episode as well as a question for you both. One of my favorite things about video games besides the game itself is the artwork and packaging it comes in. I think it would be interesting to do a deep dive into the history of video game box art. I highly suggest the book The Art of Atari, written by Tim Lepetino. It does a good job telling the stories of the fantastic artists and designers that you don't really hear too much about. As an artist myself, I highly appreciate the amount of detail and time put into the box art, especially for those early Atari games that look nothing like the cover. As for my question, what is your favorite console that came before the NES? I know there's hundreds of them that exist, but are there any that stand out to you or you would like to own? Personally, I would love to own a Vectrex. I think it's a very unique piece of technology and not too surprising that it didn't take off. Thank you for taking the time to read my email and keep doing what you're doing. Many Spidey booties, Alexis.
I guess first for me, the box art idea is a great idea. I love that.
Yeah, I have that book. I think I sent a sample to my Kindle or something. So that book's been on my list to check out for a while.
All right. So we could definitely do that as a book club kind of deal, which would be really cool. It'll be hard because we have to describe pictures maybe, but I think it'll be okay. I also agree, like box art is something that's falling to the wayside now that we're all digital, and it makes me really sad. We just have like cover images now, which is usually just from the game. Yeah. But yeah, good box art is just...
Well, games look good enough nowadays that like you could actually use footage from it, and
yeah, that's
like
true.
Back in the Atari days, like putting a Pitfall on the cover of Atari was not as cool as putting like an Indiana Jones ripoff on the cover. You know,
art I always remember is the look on Pokemon's Red's cartridge of the Charizard that's like on it, the cover. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
I just think that's great. It just gives me good feel. Yeah. When I see that image, I just feel happy. You know,
that art style of like, there's like some, I don't want to say it's like watercolor, but there is like a specific sort of art style to it that's like it's in the manual as well. I think it's so cool.
Me too. Big fan. That's a great idea. We'll put that on our list. But as for the question of what favorite console, so the only one I really played as a kid, and I was telling Tyler this before we started, but I played Atari 2600 after I had already played an NES. Like my best friends in Alaska, the family that we always hung out with, they found their Atari 2600 in storage and pulled it out. And we had a weekend where we just played Atari 2600. And there's something about that console with like the wood grain on the front that just feels very 70s that I just want to have on a shelf. You know, I don't know if I'd play it, but it's just such a cool looking item. It's very much pulled from that time period. And I think I would want to have an Atari 2600.
Yeah, I think I might go Atari 2600. Vectrex is cool because it has like a vector graphics display. Like it doesn't work with a standard TV, so it has its own like TV built into it. I think that's cool. As far as like cultural relevance, you would have to go with a 2600, I think. But like ColecoVision is still pretty cool, and Intellivision, or even Fairchild Channel F, the first cartridge-based system, like with games that were actually on the cartridge.
You know,
that's
that
cool.
From a history standpoint, the Channel F would be the one that I would want to own now that I think about it. I just thought about ones I've played, like, because I've played Atari. I've never played a Channel F. I wonder how much these all go for on like eBay and stuff, these old consoles.
Vectrexes are pretty expensive, I think, because like there just aren't very many. They didn't make very many of them to begin with, and I think they're also fragile, and when they break, they require specific skills to fix because they use their own proprietary stuff. So,
oh yeah, like they're probably getting to the point where there's no parts to repair them too, potentially.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh man, that's a really good question though. That's great. I think I agree. Atari 2600 would be, for me, because I've played it, the one I would keep. But as a like video game history piece, the Channel F is something that I think would be really cool.
Do we count computers? Could I cheat and get like an Apple II?
Yes, I will allow it for this.
Yes.
Oh man, I have a show I do in Seattle the first Friday of the month. It was last night. I was up way too late, but the ticket counter has an Apple II sitting on it.
Wow.
As like a set decoration piece. And every person that comes to the show stops and goes, "What is that?" Because it's got like the mouse with just one button on it.
Yeah.
And it just throws people off. I don't know if the Mac works. I'm surprised they keep it as like a decoration piece because I'm like, that's worth money. Like you could sell that to a collector. It's complete, you know? I don't know if it works.
Oh, you should send me a picture of it.
I will. I'll send you a picture of it the next time that I have the show because it is pretty fantastic. And I'm like always looking at it like, I think it's the owner's and he just has it as a decoration piece. But in my mind, I'm like, that should be in a museum, this beautiful old computer. So I will allow you to get an Apple II. That's a gaming machine. I mean, they play a lot of games on there. Yeah. But I don't know if our listeners will, though. They might judge you. So,
well, too bad.
Watch out. All right. Well, that's all the emails. So, Tyler, what you been playing this week?
This week, what I've been playing, well, I finished Metroid last week, right? I mostly just Destiny. I've been pretty busy at work this week, and I haven't had a ton of time to play video games. So mostly just Destiny when I get a few minutes. I'm pretty boring this week, but I do plan to play a lot of Pokemon Legends Arceus as I am traveling in the next couple of weeks. That's going to be like my main game that I stick to, I think. And I might try to play through some Titanfall 2 as well. I'm not sure yet because I don't think it's very long.
Have you played that campaign before?
No, but I hear it's so good.
It is so wonderful. Just hits you right in the feels. Gameplay's fun. You care about the characters. Everything about it just makes me want Respawn so badly to make another Titanfall game. It's so good. I'm excited for you that you're going to play that. It's so great. Yeah. And it is, I think, a pretty short campaign. Definitely. Like, very doable over your trip, you know?
Yeah. What have you been playing?
I've been playing a lot of Destiny, like you said. I've been playing quite a bit of Valorant, even on my own. The Counter-Strike-y kind of game. I've been liking it lately. I've been kind of in that sort of mood for like a Twitch shooting, seeing if I can remember how this goes, you know, like a Counter-Strike-y kind of deal. And then I've also been playing a little bit of Dark Souls on my Xbox because Elden Ring Fever is going on right now, and I am definitely getting in the hype train. I just had a sudden realization, though, that I can't play the game on anything I own. My graphics card is below the minimum specifications.
Really?
Yes. The minimum specs for it are a 1060, and I am running the 970.
Oh, those are pretty comparable,
You
though.
think so?
I think you should. Yeah, if there's a way for you to try it without buying it first, I think you should.
Okay. I didn't know. I was like, I think I'm below min specs. So I don't know. Okay, I'll try it out. But if I can get a free trial going to see if it works, I will try it out. And then, because our friends have been playing it too, and I've been actually watching them play it at night. Like, I'm not playing games at night. I'm just watching them play. And I'm enjoying that.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice to just sit back and experience something with someone else. Ride the highs, none of the lows.
Exactly. And so I do need to beat Pokemon Legends Arceus. I just kind of took a break from it because I was playing it so much the last 2 weeks before. So hopefully I can get back into that this week. But yeah, it's been pretty chill so far. I think that's it for the day. So next week will be a Codex Remastered. We are doing that because we're traveling. But the week after, hopefully we should do an episode. I have an idea of something I've always wanted to talk about on the podcast. But that is kind of also up in the air due to traveling, just so everyone knows. So if you see 2 Codex Remasters in a row, don't worry. We're not done. We're just having a little hiatus, essentially.
Yeah, just because logistically it's tough for the next couple weeks for us.
Yeah, some people see a podcast start re-releasing a bunch of episodes in a row and not doing new ones, and they're like, oh no, what's happening? Is it over? It's not over. The family's still together. We're just traveling a lot. All right. But if you want to send us an email, you can go codexhistorypodcast@gmail.com. And then if you want to join our Discord, you could either email us or go to my Twitter account, Mecoletta, MECOLETTA. Click on the pinned tweet, and that'll give you an invite that never expires to our Discord. And Tyler's on Twitter too, @SneakerElfELPH. And I think that's it for the day. You want to say bye to everybody, Tyler?
Goodbye, everybody.